Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. This is Watch and Learn with Sultani, it means with me. As you know, we have launched this channel in order to provide a complete approach course in learning English language. You might have found the importance of English language in different parts of your life, in your career, friendship, education, or a small talk with a foreigner. So this is not an exaggeration if we say that today English is almost an inseparable part of our life, or this isn't a skill that everyone must have it in order to prosper or have a successful life. So what we have created is this channel to upload a complete approach English course. And it contains grammar, vocabulary, reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Stay tuned, subscribe our channel, and wait for our videos. So let's get the show on the road and start our first lesson in grammar. Welcome again. As we said, we are starting our first lesson with the grammar. And you know that grammar is the most important and crucial part of a language. So without grammar, we cannot learn a language correctly or properly. So how? Let's see. Um, Here we have listed two definitions, which these two definitions are not the only definitions that grammar has. There are a number of uh, grammar definitions which different grammarians have given to grammar, but all of them are not necessary to study or to understand or to know that, because almost all of them has the same concept, and what our goal is to get the concept of that, to understand that. So these in here, these two definitions can also give us enough information about how a grammar works in a language, or what your grammar is actually. So the first one is that grammar is a collection of rules through which we learn a language. This is clear, but to clarify it more, we say that grammar is a collection of rules. We can say that it is a collection of rules, a set of rules. We study that, learn that, and then we use that. So then we can speak the language or write, or we can use generally. So the second one is grammar is the skeleton of a language. What does it mean? The keyword in here is skeleton. Skeleton is the keyword in this definition. You might know that a skeleton is the collection of bones in humans and animals' body. For example, like your shoulder bone, for example, your spines, like your backbones, like for example your arms, the bones which is in your arms, for example your skull, or any other types of bones in your body. So that's called, together all of them are called a skeleton. What does it mean? It means a grammar is acting like the skeleton of a language, as the skeleton of a human body acts in their body. For example, what does our skeletons do? Our skeleton lets us to stand firmly, for example, to move, and also, so it is a crucial part. The grammar is again like that. Suppose that this is human's skeleton. This is a human skeleton. So this is only bones. Without these bones, so what could we do with those with these pieces of meats? So this is our bones, that our muscles, our meats, our other parts are sticking around that, and it shapes our body. So that's why we use grammar in order to uh, understand a language and learn a language the way that the language should be. So it gives us the rules, and there are, so beside that, so we are making, for example, we are sticking words on that. Uh, we are, for example, sticking phrases, clauses, or something like that, and then the language is built. So after studying and knowing the definition of grammar, so now it's time to learn the types of grammar. But how many types of grammar do we have? So let's begin. Generally, types of grammar, we have two main types of grammar, two main parts of grammar. So we have, the first one is called descriptive, and the second one is called prescriptive. So we will see the difference between them, and we will define each of that, how does it work and what does it say. So let's begin with the first one, which is called descriptive grammar. Descriptive grammar, it studies the language the way it is used by speakers in daily life or day-to-day English, or it just tells us how a language is used by users of the language. So descriptive grammar is not going to give us strict rules that how should we use the language, but opposite of that, it is just telling us how a language is used actually. For example, how speakers of the language like English, how the speaker of English language is using that language, how they're speaking, how they're writing, so how they arrange the words, sentences, what they say, like this. So these types of grammar is a modern way of grammar. So it's not going to give us the rules. It is just tells us how it's used rather than how it should be used. So descriptive grammar is a modern approach to grammar with which is somehow like today is common. So everywhere we can use it, and so because there are a number of different people which are speaking English and using English, so the way that you are speaking, if it gets common, so then the English grammar would say that the descriptive type of grammar would say us that this is the way that people are using. It is not going to judge whether it's correct or not correct. It just says this is the way that the language is used. But the second one is prescriptive grammar. So what is prescriptive grammar? Prescriptive grammar is opposite of descriptive grammar. It is, we can say, it is contrary to descriptive. We can say prescriptive grammar is somehow like uh, it is an old style of grammar. Like it gives us strict rules that these strict rules should be used in order to measure a language to be spoken correctly. How? The definition says it tells us how a language should be used, or it prescribes strict rules by which we can use the language correctly. So we say that descriptive grammar is just telling us how a language is used. But prescriptive grammar is telling us how a language should be used. So in here you have to notice that prescriptive grammar is saying how it should be used. It means that it is giving us orders or it prescribes us that how a language should be used. Strict rules that if you don't use those rules, it means that the way that you're speaking the language or using the language is not correct. So it is based on the prospect of prescriptive grammar, but descriptive grammar is just telling us easy that this is the way that the language is used. Prescriptive grammar says, so forget about people how they use. Learn those rules which we have given to you. So this is the difference and the two types of grammar, which is called descriptive and prescriptive. Do not forget that at the end of every video, we're going to give you some tips about how to learn the lesson that we have studied. Today we have studied about grammar and we're going to give you some tips about how to learn grammar. The first, try to find similarities and differences between your language and English language. This way you can get the concept of that easier. For example, try to find how adjectives and adverbs are used in your language and how adjectives and adverbs are used in English language. Second, try to read as many books as you can. Try to read those books that you're interested in and notice, highlight those structures, grammar structures that you're facing with. Whenever you're studying English courses like grammar parts, you will just remember those structures that you have once you have studied that in a book, for example, in a novel or any book that you're interested in. Third, try to make sentences. Try to make sentences like 10 to 20 or more than that after any lesson that you're studying. So this way, if you observe all these three ways, you can learn English grammar 3x faster than usual. Do not forget also to subscribe and share our videos with your friends and family members. So this way, we can expand our community and we can raise awareness and knowledge of English to many people. Thanks and have a nice day.